After an incredibly disappointing season, Rangers fans are eager for the 49ers takeover to be completed so the complete rebuild of the club can begin. In today's video, we have some breaking 49ers news to share. We will look into this in today's video, whilst also going over all the latest Rangers news from the last 24 hours. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. But first, Gorgi Hagi has defended his son Yanis's performance for Rangers after he was hooked at half-time of their Europa League defeat at Athletic Bilbao. The Romanian international was withdrawn at the interval as Rangers eventually went out at the quarter-final stage of the competition following a 2-0 defeat in Spain. But Hagi Sr., who famously played for both Real Madrid and Barcelona in Spain, insisted his son played well for the 45 minutes on the pitch. Hagi is out of contract at Rangers at the end of the season and faces an uncertain future at Ibrox. His father said, "Yanis played 45 minutes in the second leg in Spain. Tactically, from my point of view, he did what was needed and what was asked of him. Everything. This was a match in Europe at a very high level. I thought he did well." Hagi Jr. said after the game that the ref's failure to award them a penalty for a shirt tug on Cyril Dessas made the difference. He said, "We are obviously disappointed, angry, probably because we could have played better. I think Bilbao for 90 minutes were better than us, but that doesn't take away the incident of the penalty, right?" Now in some 49ers takeover breaking news, Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises have finalized a route that will secure a 51% controlling interest in Rangers as the Ibrox takeover deal moves closer to completion. American healthcare tycoon Kavanagh has been in discussions with key shareholders since October in a bid to reach a consensus to herald in a sweeping regime change ahead of the new campaign. And those talks, which have also included 49ers chief Parag Marath, are now close to being finalized as the legal process is worked through ahead of a handover of power. It is understood an announcement is still several weeks away. Reports in recent days suggested that former director Sandy Easdale held a potentially decisive say in the takeover as Kavanagh and Marath sought to secure enough shares to give them the boardroom power base that they require. RFC News understands that Easdale's stake in RIFC plc, which now reportedly stands at 2.25%, is not needed for the deal to be completed, however, and suggestions that there is a snag in the takeover are wide of the mark as all parties work towards a completion date. RFC News previously outlined that the deal could be finalized late next month. A source close to the negotiations told the RFC News. Talks have been ongoing since October to get enough shareholders on board to ensure that the 51% mark can be reached after a new funding issue. The 51% is secured, it is only the legals and regulatory approvals that are holding things up. Marath is the chairman of Leeds United and looks set to be celebrating promotion to the Premier League as Daniel Farke's side bid to clinch the championship title. Leeds are level on points with Burnley and could secure their return to the top flight at Stoke City on Monday. That situation has no bearing on the Rangers deal, however. The fate of United will not impact 49ers Enterprises' involvement at Ibrox, and the agreement is not contingent on what unfolds in the final fixtures of the second-tier campaign. Former Ibrox chairman Dave King will sell his major shareholding as he ends his 25-year association as a board member, director, and chairman with his boyhood club. John Bennett will also offload his stake to give the American consortium around 20% of the shares in RFC plc. The remaining shares that are required will be accumulated through percentage deals with a handful of investors and a future rights issue as the new power brokers prepare to make significant investments on and off the field. As previously reported by the RFC News, significant changes around the top table are expected as familiar faces at Ibrox make way for the new regime. King told the media in February how the multi-million-pound deal would be his parting gift to his fellow fans as he outlined the role he has played in ensuring Kavanagh and the 49ers will take control of the club a decade after he, John Gilligan, and Paul Murray won the boardroom war that saw Easdale and his brother James side with the Mike Ashley faction. Given that the club had made it clear that I had no further role to play, I thought it would be a fitting legacy if I sought out potential investors that met my criteria and who could buy out some of the existing shareholders, such as me, who no longer have a role to play, and then inject new funds to become a new anchor shareholder, King said as he detailed the beginning of the process that will lead to a deal being signed and sealed after several months of high-level negotiations. Such an investor would also need to be acceptable to supporters and to have the appropriate skill set to take our unique club forward. It was extremely unlikely to find such an investor in Scotland, which is why I was pulled into the regime all those years ago. Kavanagh has been a regular at Ibrox as the deal has progressed and travelled to Glasgow to watch the first leg of the Europa League quarter-final against Athletic Club. And he was joined by 49ers technical director Greta Steinson last week as the pair took in the agonising defeat in Bilbao that ended Barry Ferguson's dreams of leading his side to the final this season. Ferguson will oversee the remaining 5 Premiership fixtures this term, before the Americans appoint a permanent manager in the summer. A sporting director will also be named to oversee the beginning of a new era at Ibrox. I'm going to finish the season as strongly as possible for myself and the players, Ferguson said in the aftermath of the controversial last 8 loss to the Europa League favourites and final hosts. I've not sat down and spoken about it, but it needs to get sorted soon because as a club, we obviously need to do a lot of work. It's getting late in the season and the club needs to get back challenging. It's a good European run, but sadly, it ended tonight. But domestically, we need to be challenging for trophies. So in terms of my future going forward, I'll wait and see what happens there. I've given the guys a couple of days off to reflect, but I'll be coming in on Monday, ready to hit the last 5 games of the season head on. Patrick Stewart, the Chief Executive Officer, is due to address supporters at a fan forum event on Wednesday evening. In conclusion, the long-anticipated takeover of Rangers Football Club is now firmly on the home stretch, with Andrew Kavanagh and 49ers Enterprises set to assume a controlling 51% stake that will usher in a new era at Ibrox. Months of behind-the-scenes negotiations have brought together a coalition of shareholders willing to back a regime committed to significant investment and structural change. With legal and regulatory formalities now the final steps in the process, the new ownership group is preparing to take the reins at a crucial juncture, both on and off the pitch. As Dave King prepares to close the chapter on his influential tenure with what he calls a parting gift to the supporters, the stage is set for fresh leadership to shape the club's direction. From the appointment of a new manager and sporting director to further strategic investment, Rangers stand on the brink of transformation. For fans, this moment marks not only the end of one era, but the beginning of what many hope will be a more ambitious, forward-thinking future. One driven by modern governance, deep-pocketed backing, and a renewed hunger for success at home and in Europe. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. We post all the latest Rangers news every single day, so make sure you join our fast-growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.